one question for you before we move on. What do you think about where WWE is right now? Obviously, as a business, they're making more money than ever before. And they just had a red-hot European tour. Shows domestically may not be selling out as quickly or, in some cases, at all like they used to a year ago, a year and a half ago. But things are still really hot. Their stars are really big stars. But my interest has completely died in a lot of this stuff. And obviously, WrestleMania being 2 extra weeks of build this year, not even talking about the problem of running it on Easter Sunday, which is kind of crazy if you think about it. But the extra weeks of build, I don't think helped. I think it hurt. Nothing really seems red hot going into Mania. And I know a lot of people with The Rock and Travis Scott on the Cena turn thing said, look, you see, it all ties in. It all makes sense. The Rock said that. See, this has all been our plan. If the plan was for The Rock and Travis Scott to show up and cause the Cena turn and then never appear on the TV again until WrestleMania, that's a again, I said that was a problem. The TV and the angles don't seem to be connecting as well as they did as the Bloodline stuff was all coming together a year ago, a little more than a year ago. It feels like, I don't know. Again, they're still hot. I'm not saying like, they're going to lose their business, but it feels like it's cooling down a bit for a number of reasons. What do you think?
Well, yes, it is. And, part of it is just you can't be hot, continuously red hot and, rev the motor until it finally it's going to blow up at some point. But they're still, as you said, doing great numbers with everything. I think what they need to watch out for, besides creative, they are not only charging high ticket prices, but they're selling people a lot of shit. The point is, how much money do people fucking have? And is there a breaking point, especially with the United States firmly in the grip of a criminal lunatic that has no idea what he's fucking doing, and the stock market is going up and down, and people aren't certain about the future? Can they keep expecting their fans to have this level of not only time engagement, but financial engagement before some of these numbers start going down, no matter how good the creative is? And then if they come up with some good shit, more of Cena and, surprises and thrills and spills for the summertime, the creative probably okay for a while because the stars are over. But, how much can they expect to continue to engage this many people this rapidly on a time and or financial basis? Do you feel me, Brian?
I do. And, hot things don't stay hot forever, although it seems almost like a forced cool down in a lot of ways. It feels like a lot of things that didn't get a chance to play out fully, and maybe they still will. Heyman's famous for saying we're only in the 3rd inning. But the Bloodline doesn't mean shit right now. Roman Reigns, he just shows up every now and then, although he's been around a lot more for WrestleMania season. Major star, but he doesn't feel as big as he did. Punk's kind of exactly where he was. Rollins, same thing, if not slightly elevated. Drew is, but Drew's not really involved in anything anyone's excited about. Priest hasn't broken away. Dominic's kind of in the same place he was, although not with Rhea, with Liv. Liv's been elevated, so it's work there. Tiffany's been elevated, it's work there. But there's a lot of things that just, I don't know, it feels like they're running in place. It feels like, a lot of those WrestleManias, like WrestleMania 9, we just talked about, 8, WrestleMania 6 I could think of, there were matches on the show that just filled out the card, but they weren't anything you could really invest in. Tito Santana versus the Barbarian wasn't a feud. It was just 2 guys that won squash matches being put in a match on a pay-per-view. It's not that, but it just feels like a lot of this stuff.
Well, see, that's in those days, expectations were lower because the standard card was 2 or 3 or maybe 4 matches deep on anything anybody cared about. And then you were used to the rest of them are just matches. But then they've raised the bar so many times over the successive years. And now it's 2 nights and everything has to be We got bigger expectations now, but we need to lower expectations. Because then if you think you're going to get a mouthful of shit and then you just get a cold McDonald's double cheeseburger, well, you're happy.
And looking back now on everything with The Rock and Travis Scott, we could just leave Travis Scott out of it for this question.
I like say The Rock and Travis Scott, like it's one word, The Rock and Travis Scott.
But was it worth it? You know, getting all the buzz, getting the social media attention for that one night, The Rock doing the press conference and feeling really proud of himself right after being a heel on TV, on pay-per-view. Was any of that worth it to get to Cody versus Cena?
Well, obviously, Travis Scott could have burst into flames and blown away with the wind, and it wouldn't have made any difference because he didn't need to be there to begin with. Nobody gave a shit, and all he did was bust Cody's eardrum or whatever. But The Rock, like you said earlier, is such a conundrum. The Rock could have done something, one would think, being such a big star and a movie star and everything. Maybe not what he did, but something to jazz up the main event of WrestleMania instead of confuse people. Just off top of my head, if he was willing to take someone else's ideas that maybe had been doing this all along and had worked him in because it was part of the overall plan, rather than him just coming in with his own idea and them doing it, and then he goes away wherever for however long because either people didn't like it or he just has other things to do. That wasn't optimum. So I don't know why they couldn't have all got together and planned something ahead that made sense as it went through instead of being this outlying thing that got some attention and then it's not germane to anything else in the story.
Well, we will see if WWE is cooling off or how hot it is at WrestleMania. And of course, after WrestleMania, 2 nights of wrestling action, not even to count the Hall of Fame, SmackDown, NXT, the roast, all the things happening. After all that kind of action, especially if you're in Vegas, you probably need a good night's sleep. And maybe when you get out of Vegas and get home, you can get that good night's sleep from our friends at Helix Sleep.
Well, that's right, Brian. You want to wait till after you get back from Las Vegas to have a good night's sleep, because can you imagine what goes on, Brian, on those mattresses in those Las Vegas motels? For heaven's sake, everybody in the world converges, and now it's a family destination. So you've got families cross-mingling with all the high rollers on the strip. You just know that you do not want your child to lay down on a mattress that a high roller on a strip has paid for a Tijuana donkey show the night before. You want to have your kids laying down on clean mattresses, like from Helix Sleep, that makes mattresses especially for kids. There's not even room for a donkey. You got to get a Shetland pony. Have you had the Shetland pony mattress yet, Brian?
Now, again, they don't have any of these features. I don't know why your mind goes to these places when talking about these things, but Helix Sleep has the finest mattress, whether you like a firm mattress or something a little more loosey-goosey. I don't know exactly the terminology here. I don't sell mattresses. Helix Sleep does, and they do it well because the mattresses are great, and Jim is so excited about the greatness of these mattresses that his mind just gets blown and goes all these different directions. Right, Jim?
Yes, well, I see on the news all the time, you know, a lot of the motels on Route 66, what they do is they throw their mattresses in a dumpster, and then people come along and pick them up and sell them to the unsuspecting consumer. That's an epidemic of this bootleg mattress black market scheme going on around the country. You got to order.
Really?
It's an epidemic.
You've seen this on the news.
It's happening all over the place. You see it on the local news. But you got to sleep on a clean mattress. You got to have your family and your children on mattresses that are not defiled. And that's why Helix Sleep comes in, because not only do they make mattresses for everybody in the family, as you said, the firm sleepers and the soft sleepers and the back pain sleepers and the sleep apnea sleepers and the sleeping too hot sleepers and the snoring sleepers and the little kitties with the Shetland ponies. Helix has a mattress for all of them. And you can save money on it at the same time. No more going to the store where potentially You might buy a reconditioned Route 66 mattress. Now you just go to helixsleep.com, HELIX, sleep.com/JCE. You take the quiz, what kind of mattress you want. They make a bunch of them. They'll pick it out based on your preferences. They will send you said mattress, and you will sleep not only peacefully and not only comfortably, but also cleanly. You know, they've also got the problem with some of these mattresses. If you lay on them too long, they will grow into your skin. And then when you get up, you just rip your back off. That's because of the secret alien fibers that some people cut costs with. Brian, you've seen this on the news also.
I don't know anything about that, and I also do know that Helix Sleep has none of that. So why don't we talk about?
Well, no, they don't,
because at Helix Sleep.
They don't brook any kind of that foolishness. No, it's going to be competent and clean materials for your mattress. helixsleep.com/JCE right now. If you go there and do that thing that I said to do, then you're going to get 20% off and 2 free pillows with your mattress order. And well, then how can you have a mattress without pillows? Boom goes the dynamite. They've taken care of it for you. 20% off. You're going to save money. You're going to get free pillows and a mattress that you can let your wife, your husband, your significant other, your children, your pets all sleep on and feel good about it. And they don't use any asbestos or radioactive uranium waste in the making of these mattresses.
That's the Helix guarantee.
That's right. No radioactive waste. Boom. They come right out and say it on the website, folks.
Once again, a great mattress. We have a few of them here in the house. They have them at Castle Cornette. You could have them at whatever house you live in. Helix Sleep. One more time, Jim. We love them. What's that lovable promo code?
Yes, you can have them at the House of the Rising Sun if you want. helixsleep.com/JCE, 20% off, 2 free pillows. Get them while they're hot. Don't go to Vegas.
All right. Helix Sleep.